but from countless ancient lives, the lucky ones who evolved step by step. Every human species is fascinating, but there is actually a longer line behind them, the mysterious path of evolution. To truly understand who we are, we must set our sights on fossils older than humans. Record back to that incredible source of life. So let's start with this. We have to start with the origins of primates. Primates appear around the end of the alligator season. That's 63 to 74 million years ago, although some studies suggest a more recent time point. But that's not the point. Here's the thing. After all, primates and their contemporaries. How is it different? Primates have evolved relatively large brains, flexible eyes, gripping hand, opposite thumbs, and the fingers of beautiful claws. Many animals may share one or two of these characteristics, but combine these characteristics. The secret to primate success. Primates survived the White Age, the mass extinction of Kuching, and continue to diversify in various periods of the new generation. Their evolutionary paths gradually diverged. One of them is a species called the higher primate, including monkeys and protozoa. Separation began about 40 million years ago. Here we go. This group of higher primates divided into New World monkeys, Old World monkeys and protozoa. It was around 25 million years ago, divided from Old World monkeys. They're quite different from their monkey relatives. For example, teeth have 5 points in the lower jaw. There are 4 points on the palate. The shoulders can be fully rotated. The chest widens and shallowens. And they've completely lost the outer tail. The park is usually larger than the monkeys. And they've evolved to have more diverse ecological roles. Start taking over various living spaces. The first to break away from the garden family was Changbi Garden, about 18 million. I started my own business years ago. The direction of their evolution. Kind of back to the monkey thing. Small body lengthens limbs. How about our one? The Anthropocene family, often referred to as gorillas or humans. They evolved bigger bodies. Orangutan, about 14 million years ago, separated from the human family, mainly still active in trees. And our one. They seem to prefer to operate on the ground, especially in Africa. Gorillas about 8.80 million years ago, separate from us, on the path of the large grazing animals, developed a supersized digestive system to deal with the large number of those nutrient-poor leaves and plants, and this one of us is still partly dependent on tree activity. Food sources are more likely to be fruit, energy foods like nuts and seeds. Next up is us and the chimpanzees. The ancestral split between the nests of chimpanzees has arrived. A lot of people think we're playing from chimpanzees. It's not actually from here. We are brothers with chimpanzees. Rather than father and son, we are descended from a common ancestor. They evolved independently, and chimpanzees have also, has its own little evolutionary process. Common ancestor of humans and chimpanzees. Probably live in a central tacit understanding. What about the time of differentiation? They were very different. Molecular evidence says 4 million to 8 million years ago. There's also some evidence that 6 million, 7 million years ago. Some even say it started 13 million years ago. Anyway, this big family, it may have started 10 million years ago. But then the genetic mixing between the various groups makes the exact time very difficult to determine. We also have some fossils now, may represent this common ancestor, but it's really hard to confirm. For example, one was discovered in Canada, fossils from 9.90 million. Some people think it might be both us and the ancestor of chimpanzees. However, in Greece and Turkey, there are also some distant fossils from 9.60 million to 7.40 million have been identified. It may also belong to that key ancestor, known as the Betiarons. These findings, it is also believed by some to support the theory of European origin. Of course, European origins may be possible, but the Aran, it seems to be more closely related to orangutans. Relationship with chimpanzees or humans, not so dear. So, the last common ancestor of humans and chimpanzees, most likely still from Africa, but wherever that ancestor ended up. And here's the thing, it gave rise to chimpanzees and nest chimpanzees, the ancestors of humans and others, ancestors of two walking relatives. And then what happened? The ancestors on the chimpanzee side. It is estimated that he will continue to stay in the tree. Crawling on all fours is quite adept. And our ancestors start gradually trying to walk onto feet. I started to practice walking without asking for help. However, to determine the source of a fossil, is it our human side or the chimpanzee? It's really hard. Chimpanzee ancestors were characterized by thin-toothed enamel. The canines are big and pointed. Standard quadruped crawling posture. What about our earliest human ancestors? You need to find a smaller canine tooth, thicker enamel. There are also some skeletal structures adapted to biracial walking. Here's the thing, canine teeth are actually very important, because they symbolize aggression. Black-hearted males have big, scary canines for internal fights, and we humans, the canines are smaller. The sexes are pretty much the same. It shows that there is much less fighting within our family. The oldest known fossils that could belong to our human lineage, Itshei people, scientific name Shei Southern Ancient Plains, found in northern Chad, even just lying on the surface. This also made it difficult for him to date accurately at first, but later analysis gives about 6.80 million, time frame to 7.20 million. This group of fossils includes a relatively intact skull, mandibular teeth and limb bones. He has a small brain, after the brow bone, but compared to chimpanzees, has smaller canine teeth and a flatter face. His foramen magnum, it's that neck hole at the base of the skull. It's further down the middle than the chimps. This might suggest that Shaq stands straighter than chimpanzees, more humane. About his thigh bone, academics have been arguing fiercely. There is a paper in 2020 that says he is not fit to walk on 2 feet. As a result, another paper will come in 2022, reverse immediately. Morphologically, there is a high probability that he is not walking in groups of 4. I'm used to walking on 2 legs, so look at it as a whole. Evidence from below his pelvis. It really goes well with habitual bipedal walking, but he should also be able to climb trees. In the stage of running both ends of the tree, therefore, the Shah may be part of our human lineage, one of the first dual family gardens. Please explain. The human line on our side is called the hominidae, as long as it is the source that will walk on 2 feet on this line. Hominidae, and Homo is just a branch of the Homo family. Hominidae, it also includes all living and extinct great apes, although we would like to say the Shah are the earliest members of the Hominidae family. But be careful, maybe he's actually related to the chimpanzee, only they develop some very similar characteristics to us. Fortunately, we have other fossils to help with the puzzle. For example, about 6.10 million to 5.70 million years ago, called the Olarine, he's probably an earlier species. His teeth are very small for his size. Canine teeth are also degraded. And his thigh bone. It shows structures that walk onto feet, although the rest of the body is still suitable for climbing trees. Some scholars say he may have a circle at the center, and the southern circle. Some people think it's just another branch. But anyway, these fossils all provide very informative clues, although I can't draw 100% conclusions. And here comes another heavyweight. Audi scientists have discovered 2 species. One is the older Audicata, about 5.60 million years ago, but only bits and pieces of debris were found. His toes, the bone looks like it might have been used for walking, and the teeth also show he may be the ancestor of the later Audi Ramda, and Adrian Lambda is awesome. We have found relatively complete fossils. Skull teeth, the pelvis has everything, his hands, feet and pelvis. On the one hand, it shows the skill of still climbing trees. On the other hand, it's clearly adapted. His occipital bone, macropores and pelvis, more than any previous ancestor, are more like designed for walking, but he must also climb trees a lot, not giving up air sports entirely. Speaking of which, you might think, doesn't it sound similar to the previous ones? But what's really special about him is the extremely small canine teeth, and there's not much difference between men and women. This shows their social structure may not be like chimpanzees anymore, rely on showing your teeth and fighting to determine status. More like human ancestors talking about emotions, less violent. And here's what's interesting. Their entire body structure looks more neotenous, compared to those older ancestors. More like a small circle that didn't grow up. Which brings us to a keyword, neoteny. That is, growth slows down or does not grow up. It's a mechanism that allows animals to retain a lot of infancy, the characteristics of adulthood. And this, it may be the division between humans and other prototypes. Yongpi's key secret. If you look at pictures of human babies and chimpanzees, the film may find, it doesn't seem that much different. But wait until they grow up. Change is coming. Humans will continue to act cute, and the chimpanzee becomes the tough guy in the forest. Humans now have much longer childhoods than chimpanzees. And we're growing up. It retains a lot of neoteny. That is, it looks more baby-like, like a small face and a small nose, round eyes and big head. Although this sounds similar to chimpanzees, the gap is not that big. But don't forget, we've been separated from them for 7 million years, so these 2 really can't be compared together. But Adi Ramda is different. He is primitive compared to the Shah and other centers. Retains more neotenous features. So this is interesting. During the evolution of the human universal family, the further back you go, the more species there are, the more baby-faced they look. Just of course. It's not that simple. Evolution is not a beauty filter, full of things along the way. Anyway, Adrian Lambda is now classified as a member of the Hominidae family. He might even be the ancestor of the ancient southern plains. However, when he appeared, hundreds of thousands of years earlier than the ancient plains in the south, so it might just be a close relative. These 2 families, Audi lambda and the southern plains, probably all from an earlier ancestor, like Adirondack, even the earlier Shahs. In other words, it's like our human ancestors were playing solitaire. People contact Audi people. The Audi made contact with the southern ancient plains again, finally touching ourselves, although the evidence is not strong enough. But in terms of evolutionary rhythm, there is indeed a possibility. If you don't think so, then at least we can be sure that it will be late in downtown. Expected to the early days of Shangxing City, Homo ancestors have begun to adapt to life on the ground, and it is also more likely to retain the Otany than other gardens. Speaking of the ancient plains of the south, this is the protagonist who really opened the door to human history. They were the first double success in Africa. Ethnic gardens and even the oldest southern ancient plains appeared over 4 million years ago. Then they spread like leaves, spread across Africa, gradually evolved different branches. Our genus Homo probably arose from these branches, born slowly 3 million years ago. Although scientists have not yet agreed. Which ancient southern plains are we from? Evolved. It's going to take many more years. But one thing is for sure. Southern Valley Garden. It was the first garden to truly turn on human mode. Walk on 2 legs. Sometimes we climb trees. Lifestyle gradually moves from branch maniacs, turned into a grassland walker. Some of them are species, and survived for millions of years. And we still see them today. Because we are their continuation. The evolution of human ancestors. It is still far from being fully understood, although we have taken a big step forward. But future fossils, new discovery, will surely continue to overturn our old ideas. Thank you for reading this. A brief summary of the early origins of humans.